Om Shanti. Let's sit in silence for some time and have a few moments of reflection first. Sit still wherever you are sitting. Keep your body still, straight, but relaxed. In your awareness, bring the fact that the external world, which starts with your body, is made of matter. Just mentally bring to your awareness your body, everything in and around you, everything that you own, that you say belongs to you, and see that it is all made of matter. Now ask yourself a question. Where am I experiencing all this material world? The material world is outside. But where am I experiencing it? Become aware that you are experiencing everything in your mind. What is the mind? It is a subtle capacity of thinking and experience that I have. Somewhere behind the eyes, there is something like a screen or a space where everything from the external world is getting projected. And I am experiencing it. I am experiencing everything material, everything external in the inner space of my mind. Just become aware of this interesting reality. Sit in amazement of this reality for some time. Om Shanti. So, could you appreciate this interesting fact that whatever is happening outside, you are not experiencing it there, you are experiencing it here. Yes? Is it so? How many agree with me? Just show your hand and let me know if you agree with this. Yes. So, whatever exists outside is experienced inside, right? So, your body is here, but then where do you experience it? You experience it in your mind. You experience your property, your position, your everything in your mind. And basically, the world that you experience is experienced inside, not outside. It exists physically outside, but then you experience it completely inside. And this is where a very big power lies. What is that power? The power to choose how you want to experience the external world on the inside. So, up until now, we thought if it is like this outside, then how can I help it? Or I must feel miserable or sad or irritated or bitter about it because it is not what I want it to be outside. But now we are understanding a very big, important choice or power that we have, which is everything that is existing outside is experienced inside. And when you are experiencing it inside, you have a choice, a power about how you want to project it onto your mind. Yes, and when you exercise that power or that choice, then your experience of reality changes. Yes, so whatever is the reality, this is why there is no objective reality. There is always subjective reality. So, how you experience the world is different from how another person experiences it. And there is no way to ascertain whose way is more right. So we are all experiencing things, people, situations differently. And while we experience it differently, we can only say that my experience is different from yours. I cannot say that my experience is more right or better than yours, because my experience is subjective to me and your experience is subjective to you, and we are both right in our own ways. Yes, so up until now, you thought that you have to do a lot of work to change the world. But now you don't have to change the world. The problem has become very simple. You have to change how you view the world inside yourself. Yes, because ultimately it is my own experience that matters to me. It is not the world. Now we can understand this with a very simple question. If I ask you that if you have to tread a forest which is strewn with thorns, so all around the floor of the forest there are thorns, so is it a better idea to carpet the whole forest, or is it a better idea to wear slippers in your own foot? Okay, so you can go on carpeting the whole forest and say, if there are thorns, then I'm scared they will prick me. Or you can just wear slippers in your feet and that does the job, which is you will be safe. So instead of trying to change everybody around you, why not change your perception of them? So if they don't change, but I change how I look at them, or I change how I project them on my internal world, then that is enough. I don't need to change them. So I can operate with anybody, I can operate in any situation if I change my perception of them on the internal world. Are you following me until now? So is it clear? So how many are following? Please raise your hand so that I can understand whether we are on the same page. So, and if somebody is not following and you have a question, you can also write on the chat box regarding whatever I'm talking, okay? So now you see, we are all experiencing everything on the inside, and I am using this word perception. So you see, just like you have a camera and on your phone these days, and you click a picture, and then you don't like the picture you have clicked. So what do? You Photoshop it. Yes, and then you store it by photoshopping it and making it amenable to your taste. Sometimes I have seen people who don't like their own picture, and then they will use some filter and correct their own picture and store it. And it is good for their self image also. So people get happy, they see themselves in the mirror every day, and then they get happy when they see themselves differently by using a filter. And then they will show other people that, see, I'm looking so cute here, and this filter, and they deceive themselves also by using a filter for their own picture. So now when we can do it for faces, when we can do it for external pictures, why can't we use the same method for our experiences that we create on the inside? Because internally also we are using a camera and we are all clicking pictures, and how we click a picture, how we project a scene or a situation or a behavior onto my internal mental screen is completely up to me. Now, we are basically very bad at photography right now. So basically, if we learn good photography, half our problems would be solved. So here we are learning how to create good images for our own self, because these images are very private. Nobody else is actually seeing what you are projecting onto your mind and experiencing inside. But you are the one who is constantly experiencing it. So we should be very interested in creating a picture that makes us feel comfortable or joyful or stable or calm or less chaotic or less miserable inside. Would you be interested in doing so? Yes, would you be interested in doing so? Then why don't you do so? We say we are interested in doing so, but then mostly it is seen that we don't create pictures that make us feel peaceful or happy or loveful or stable, and these kinds of feelings we are not creating for ourselves inside. So this whole course and this whole journey, spiritual journey that you have embarked upon, is basically about learning that the process of projecting the external world into the internal is dependent on many factors, and we will try to understand what those factors are and work on them so that we are able to project a good image inside. Now, there is a question I would take that up. How can we forget the past, the mistakes that we have done in the past? How do we forgive ourselves for mistakes done in the past? So now you see that these are the challenges that come when we are trying to project an image inside. So there is a memory that we are carrying about our own actions or the mistakes that we have committed. This is why when we say that thought is what you are creating inside, but and technically we are all free to think however we want, but then what is it that stops us from creating these thoughts? So one of the factors that the sister is mentioned is the memory that we are carrying about our own mistakes made in the past. Then there is somebody who writes, it's hard to create a picture in our mind which is not reality. Now, as I told you, reality is subjective. So it's not that that is real and this that you are creating is not real. So the thing is that you are used to creating that kind of a picture. So sometimes, you don't know that a certain facility for a filter exists in your camera. So you think that that is not available and you can't do it. But then somebody introduces you that this feature is also available in your camera. And then you start experimenting with it and you start using it. So, yes, it is hard, but why? Not because that is not real, but because you are not used to it. Now, to prove this point, let me ask you a very simple question. Are your fears real? Are your fears real? So, whenever you are creating a picture of what will happen or what is going to happen, mostly it is a fear based thinking, and you create a horror movie of what is going to happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow or 3 months from now or 6 months from now. And when you are creating that image in your mind, is it real? So are your fears real? So there are studies which show that 97% of our fears never materialize. So whatever you think will happen never happens 97% of the time. But we still go on creating that image of what will happen in the next hour or the next day. Now you just imagine how many times when you leave for office, you are afraid that you will get late, or how many times that you are doing some work and you think that you will miss the deadline, but you don't miss. So 97% of the times you are on time and you don't miss a deadline, but still you keep creating that thought that I might be late or I might miss the deadline. Now, if we can create an image of the future which is based on fear, which doesn't work 97% of the times, and we say that that is real. And if I create an image of success and of timely being present in a situation or timely meeting a deadline, then I say that is imaginary. Then which one is more real or which one is imaginary? So, this is the big question. So, if we can create a deadly image more often and we think that that is more real, then this is just our thought process. It's not that that is more real. And also, do you know that even about the past, it's not what happened in the past, it's how you recorded in yourself what that which happened in the past which is troubling you. So do you know that even the memories you are carrying are a little subjective? They are not just what happened. So whenever you are experiencing a scene, it is the scene plus how you interpret it. It is the scene plus your interpretation of the scene. It is not just the scene. So, even in the past, the memories that you are carrying is not just about what happened, it's also about how you interpreted it and recorded it at that time. I will share with you an incident which proves this. So, there is a young girl who once shared something with me, and she said that she was a child and she was roughly 6 years of age. And at that time, she had a different understanding of whatever is going on around her. And then her mother and father had a fight when she was 6 years of age. And they fought bitterly. And then her mother was in a very bad space and in a very bad state. And she came to her and she said, Beta, mujhe pani la do, get me some water. And this child, she was playing. So she did not care to get her water and she just continued playing. And then her mother went to the washroom and she committed suicide there. And then, when this girl came to know that her mother is dead, she kept thinking that she probably went and committed suicide because she didn't give her water. And as a child, she did not know that this is not true. And she also kept hiding this fact from other people around her because she thought that nobody should find out that my mother killed herself because I refused to give her water. So, for 2 or 3 years, until she had the sense that that was not the case, she also kept hiding it from other people that she is the cause of her mother's death. And then later on, she came to realize that that was not so and it was something else. And over the years, that story kept changing and changing and changing. And then other details kept adding on to that story. And now that girl is around 23 or 24 and she is suffering from acute anxiety and she has panic attacks many times. And she says, Sister, I don't know which story is real. And I have created so many stories around that incident over this whole span of some 18 years that I'm very confused. And I'm very internally messed up because at different stages of my life, there was a different version of that incident, and every version has left me with a scar. So, this is a very psychological phenomena which I'm sharing with you. And if you can appreciate this, then you understand that it is not what happens around us, but it is how we interpret it at that time and how we record it inside ourselves, which creates our memory. And whenever you revisit it after some years, then you find some missing detail in it. For example, you think somebody betrayed you. Maybe that is a memory of somebody you are carrying. And then after some years, you come to know that no, this person was incited by this person, or this person was given some misleading information by another person, and that is why he behaved or she behaved in the manner they did. And then the story changes and your projection changes. But so whenever we are talking about memories also, those memories are not objective reality. They are very subjective. They are about what happened, how we interpreted, and how we recorded them inside. And now, when we are trying to understand spiritual truths, so spirituality is about shifting your consciousness about things. So, whenever you look at everything from a spiritual angle, then you find that everything was never how you perceived it to be. And this is how, when we come or we have command over spiritual know-how, then the whole story inside us starts changing. And when shift takes place inside us, then it also takes outside us. So here I want you to appreciate that whenever there is a shift inside you, then that shift not only changes your experience, but it also changes the reality around you. Have you heard that 98% of the diseases are psychosomatic? It is the effect of the mind on the body. So, every cell of your body is also changing with your perception, or how you are operating in your mind is having an effect on every cell of your body. It is having an effect on how you are conducting yourself around people. And the way you conduct yourself around people determines the response you receive from them, or how you feel on the inside affects the quality of work that you are doing. So whenever shift takes place inside, then there is a definite shift and a corresponding shift outside as well. So, when we are talking about shifting our consciousness inside, it is not limited to just having good feelings or good experiences. It is also connected with an external shift which results from that. So, this is what we need to understand now. When some things are very simple, so when I say can you change your perception of something, so some things are very simply understood, like if I give you a situation and I tell you that, so change your thought about it. For example, I will give you two three incidents, and you will understand how there is more to the story than you know. So, there is this brother who shared a story with me, and he said that he was once taking out his car from his garage. And when he took out his car and he was taking it down the road, then there was a little child who lived some houses down the lane. And then this child was came in front of the car, and this person kept honking, and this child didn't budge. So what he did is he took his car a little closer to the child so that the child would get up. But then the child didn't budge at all. And then his father came running and he shouted at this man a lot. And he said that, and this person said that, why are you trying to kill my child? Then this fellow said, I'm honking since so long, and this child is not budging at all. So I'm not trying to kill your child. I was just trying to scare him so that he runs away. So this person says, if you have been honking for 15 minutes and the child is not listening, can't you understand? And this person took the child inside. So then this person realized maybe the child is deaf or something. And then he got angry with the parent and he said, if your child has a problem, then you should take care of the child. And this is not the way you leave him on the street and then you keep shouting at other people for disturbing your child. And then he went away to office. When he came back in the evening, then his wife sat with him and she said, why did you pick a fight with that man in the morning? So he said, now you don't start about that man. That man was being very unreasonable, and I found it very wrong on his part to be shouting at me like that. So his wife said, do you even know their story? You don't know their story. So you know the wife and the husband both have cancer and they have only one child, and that child is deaf and dumb. So now you kept shouting at the child and then you kept shouting at the parent, and do you know they are all in such a miserable place? And then this brother, he came running to me and he said, Didi, mere se to paap ho gaya. I committed such a big sin and I don't know how to make amends and I'm feeling really miserable. So I said, it's okay. You didn't know, so it's okay. But then, as a rule, always understand that before you react, you should know there is more to the story than is visible to the eye. So if you remember this one law, that there is more to the story than you can see or than you know, then you will always take care to be compassionate, take care to be kind, considerate, thoughtful before you act. And this is one law that we should keep in mind. So, if you just keep this one law in your awareness, then your perception changes. So, instead of jumping to conclusions and blaming people or, just being judgmental on a very physical level and thinking that what I can see is all there is to the story, and then deriving conclusions based on whatever you can see or hear, if you just keep this one awareness in your mind, that there is more to the story than you can see or hear, then your projection inside will change and your behavior on the external will also change. So, whenever you think that somebody is behaving in a manner that you don't understand or appreciate, then you can just keep this in your mind that maybe they have a reason which I don't understand. Can you do this much? So, if you just keep this one thing in your mind, then the way you view everything will not be judgmental but compassionate. You will not jump to conclusions, but you will consider that fact that maybe they are behaving in this manner because there is a reason. And when you just keep this one thing in your mind, your perception inside will not be full of judgment and conclusions and anger and bitterness, but it will be filled with compassion and consideration. Okay, and then you can just talk with sympathy and empathy. And when you are kind, compassionate, and empathetic, then most of the problems in life are solved. So you don't need to know everything. See, I don't need to know your story to be compassionate about you. If I just know this fact that there could be a story, or there is a story which I don't understand or know, but it is okay. Even if I don't understand, I can still be compassionate. So that is enough. So we don't have to do anything for anybody. Just that energy of being empathetic or compassionate is enough. Can you just consider this fact that there could be elements of the story which you don't know, or you could just give somebody a chance based on this awareness that maybe I don't understand you completely, but you might have your reasons and you are entitled to those reasons. And I don't judge you for having your own reasons. So, would you like to incorporate this one thing? This one thing will help you have a different perception about things around you. And when you incorporate this one thing, also many things around you which you perceived with judgment or anger or bitterness or criticism or complaint will start to change, and your experience inside yourself will get better. So, I would request you to just do this one exercise today. That is, you see everything with compassion, with the awareness that there is more to the story than I know or I can see. So, if somebody is getting angry, what do you think? So, if somebody is shouting at you without you doing anything to cause that, many times people are bitter with you or they just shout at you and you don't understand what you did to invite this, then what can you think at that time? Can you think that maybe they have some reason or something in the past happened which I don't know, which is making them bitter? And it is okay. I don't have to get angry because of their behavior, because of their anger. I can stay peaceful and compassionate. Can you do that? Or you would go into why and how dare he or how dare she or how could they. So if you go into those questions, then you will be stressing yourself. So all the stress starts with these questions: how, what, why, when. And when you know that even if I don't know the how, what, why, when, they are still entitled to however they want to think or however they want to behave, and I can choose my thoughts and feelings irrespective of however they are behaving. So whenever somebody is behaving with you in a manner that you think you didn't invite or cause, then don't go into why they are doing that. Just for a second, ask yourself, have I done anything to invite this or to cause this? And if the answer from your heart is no, then you give them that attitude of compassion that okay, if you are not feeling okay and you are bad behaved, it is okay. I don't mind, and you can continue to behave badly, and I can continue to be peaceful despite that behavior. Okay. So, can you do this? Is it simple and easy? Yes, is it simple and easy? How many say it is simple and easy? Please raise your hand. Yes. So, do you know this thing that I have been mentioning off and on, awareness? This is a very powerful tool. So, whenever you are aware about something, then that awareness changes how you deal with it. Now, you see, for example, somebody tells you that my back has a problem, or my leg is wounded, or my hand is wounded, and then you keep that in your awareness. Then, whenever by accidentally you hit it, then you would say a sorry. Why? Because it is in your awareness that this person is in pain, and I did something to hurt that person. Now, suppose that thing is not in your awareness and you don't remember that this person's back has a problem or their leg is wounded, and suppose you hit it by mistake, and then that person screams and shouts, and then you have a lot of questions about, oh, I didn't hit it so loudly or badly, and why are you screaming on top of your voice because of the small hit? So it was just very gentle, it was a gentle push, a gentle nudge, and what makes you scream so loudly? But now that you have this little fact in your awareness that it is wounded, then you behave differently, you even go and say a sorry. So, what you have in your awareness definitely affects your behavior. So, when you have this fact in your awareness that people around you might be wounded, people around you might be going through stuff that you don't know or you are not aware, but it is okay and they are entitled to feel the way they are feeling. And you can just be considerate that even if they don't want to speak nicely or they are not in good mood, it is okay. You give them the space to be who they want to be. And if you can just keep this little fact in your awareness, then your behavior will be much more considerate and compassionate than it is right now. And when you create an energy of compassion inside you, who feels it? Who is the first person who gets that energy? Who gets that energy? So when you create anger inside you, who gets it first? You get it first. When you create compassion inside you, who gets it first? You get it first. So all this practice that we are doing is basically very selfish. So I would give it a very beautiful name. It is enlightened self-interest. So you are doing this spiritual practice as a part of enlightened self interest. So, although it might look like an act of benevolence, it is actually very selfish and self interest, because you understand that when you create bitterness and judgment and anger for the other person, it makes you feel bitter. So, whenever you choose peace, you choose compassion, it makes you feel better. So, you are not doing it for the other person, you are doing it for yourself, because your thoughts affect your feelings and you want to feel better. Do you understand that slowly and gradually the relevance, the importance, the worth of our inner world is becoming very profound? So these days we are living in times when if wealth is lost, nothing is lost, health is lost, something is lost, but if peace is lost, everything is lost. So do you know that wealth can be recovered? Health can be treated in the hospital. But if something happens to your mind, it is beyond recovery. You may visit the best psychiatrist, you can go for psychological consultations, but it will only lead to symptom reduction. There is no cure. You will never move from an unhappy to a happy place if you don't take care of your mind. And this internal wealth of happiness and peace, once lost, is very difficult to retrieve. This is why you should value it and not spend it on trivial matters that are of no importance. So, you should pay attention to how you plan to think about situations and behaviors and how you want to project them inside, because that creates your feelings and your state of mind. So I will give you certain words today. You can write them down if you like. So the first word is thought, then there is feeling, then there is attitude, then action, then habit, then personality. Next is relationships. And the final word is destiny. Okay, so first thought, feelings, attitude, action, habit, personality, relationships, and destiny. Now, do you see it starts with a thought and it leads to destiny? So, every thought that you are creating is creating your destiny. So, think before you think. Be careful about your thoughts. So, whenever you are in a situation, you are in the face of a behavior, think wisely. Choose peaceful thoughts. Choose happy thoughts. Choose to be compassionate. Because when you choose this way, you change your feelings, you change your attitude, you change your behavior, you change your habit, you change your personality, and you change what your personality attracts, which is your relationships, and consequently, you change your destiny. So, this is the whole chain, how this is working. I will talk about this in detail tomorrow, but you should know that every thought that you think is very simple and innocent is having a profound effect and causing a shift in your destiny. So, better be careful about how you are thinking. And I give you a very simple tool that whenever you are going about the business of life and you are in the face of behavior with people, then whenever somebody is not behaving the way you would like to behave, always keep in mind there might be more to the story than I know, so let me be compassionate. Similarly, I would like you to come up with different formulas which you can apply for thoughts about the past or thoughts about the future. So, just like I told you that you can adopt this attitude that every person might have their own reasons when you are in the face of behaviors. Now, if some thought about future insecurity is always coming up in your mind, what is the awareness that you can hold? So just think about it and write your answers if possible in the chat box, or you can share it on the WhatsApp number that I have given you so that you also come up with your own formulas to deal with thoughts about the future, thoughts about the past, thoughts about health. So, if these kinds of thoughts are always coming in your mind, what is it that you can hold in your awareness which will make you change these? So, whenever you want to change something, you have to have a different awareness about it. I told you the connection between awareness and thinking. So, whenever you hold something different in your awareness, then your thought process changes. So, regarding the future, can you have an awareness that my future will always be the best? So instead of thinking how it will be or what will be, do you have any reason to think that your future will be bad only? So, what makes you think that nothing good will happen in the future? So, do you have any concrete reason to think that way? There is no concrete reason. There is 50-50 chance, right? It could be very good, it could be very bad. So why not go with the other 50? So instead of thinking that my future can be miserable, can you think my future can be the best? It's just conditioning that we have done to ourselves. There is no better reason or there is no larger reason why we are thinking that the future will be worse only. So, just like we have trained ourselves to think that all the bad will be happening in the future, why can't we just train ourselves to think that only the good will happen in the future? And I adopt this simple line. I always tell myself the worst is over, now only the good can happen. So the worst is already happening. So what worse can happen? Only the good can happen now. So when the things that are going around are the worst, then it can't get worse. It can only get better. So whenever you adopt this line of thinking, that since the worst is already happening, it can only get better, then you start thinking favorably about your future and about your past. I like to think about my past with dignity. So I never sabotage my past. So even if some things didn't happen right or I didn't do something right, I never want to think that my past was not good because it was my past. So my past has made me who I am. So I don't want to reject myself or my present. So I like to think my past with dignity. So whatever happened was good because that is the foundation of my present. So I would like to think about my past with dignity. So even if it's not just you yourself, but even if somebody else is trying to use your past against you, never let them, never allow them. Always create a thought that I am dignified today, so whatever made me this was full of dignity. Even if it didn't look dignified at that time, it is still to be held with dignity because that is my past. So, when you have these attitudes, these are very simple formulas. You can devise many attitudes for yourself which will help you think differently in the same situations or whenever thoughts are coming up in the preconditioned pattern. It will help you to check them and change them if you adopt certain attitudes or awareness very consciously. Okay, and I will tell you, share with you the spiritual truths that God tells us about our past, future, and the present, and about however and whatever other people are doing around you or you are doing to yourself. And from tomorrow onwards, we will start the core program or the spiritual course that we have come to attend. And these two sessions I just took so that you create a foundation of how we enter into the spiritual realm. So this is to understand that our perception is creating our thoughts, not the reality, and then understanding the truth and incorporating it into our awareness will change our perception and consequently change our reality. Om Shanti. Let me see what you have written. So, future insecurities gives tension sometimes, like kids education, their settlement in life, financial securities. So I told you there is no reason to think that they will only get worse. The worst is also already happening, so it can only get better. Okay. How do we choose happy thoughts when we feel low and have anxiety? So this is the conscious way you choose one at a time, and then there is a law: fake it till you make it. Even if you don't believe in them right now, choose them consciously because I am telling you to, and then slowly it will become a part of your natural programming. Okay, my past created my happy present, and my happy present will create my happy future. Very nice. What thought do we create to get out of any habit? So, the thought that this is just a habit, my nature is different. So, my nature is discipline, my nature is to be on time, my nature is not against this habit. So this is just a habit and I can change it anytime I want. This is the thought you can create. Is reflection on the past key to creating happiness? No, you don't. If If it helps you, you can reflect. If it doesn't help you, don't go into compulsive thinking. So we are not, you don't have to do away with thinking, you have to do away with the compulsiveness. So whenever you are compulsively thinking about the past, change it. If you are consciously thinking about the past and introducing elements into your present that are helpful, you can do that. Okay. Shanti, let's have a few minutes of reflection before we leave. Sit still and quiet. And become aware of your mind. This is my mind. I reclaim my mind. I own my mind. I am the master of my mind. See your mind where lots of memories and unwanted stuff has encroached. Take charge of it. Start by throwing all the unwanted things out of the window. I declutter my mind and fill it with these new attitudes, new points of awareness. I fill it with compassion. I fill it with conscious peace, with love. I fill it with hope and dignity. All these positive vibrations in the form of soothing white light are filling my mind space. And everything else is being driven out. I have no space for negativity. From this moment, I take charge of my mind, my life, my destiny. Relish these moments of reflection. Om Shanti.